Hi there. I'm Smita Murthy, Managing Partner at Opencliff Partners. We're a product advisory and consulting firm. As a woman who spent over 25 years in tech, product, and leadership in corporate roles, I have crossed paths with inspiring women who walk the talk, have an abundance mindset, and have helped shape my career journey. My hope is through my actions while in corporate roles and now in this chapter of my professional life that I give back and pay it forward. There's plenty of research that shows that women don't have enough women role models to look up to learn from, and to emulate. And very few women leaders who break the glass ceiling, be it in corporate, entrepreneurial, or other arenas, actually support other women in terms of being a champion, a sponsor, or an advocate to other women, and worse, see them as competition. The inspiration for this podcast series is to showcase women in tech, product, and leadership who inspire, who actually help, and are positive influences to those who have the good fortune to be in their orbits, lifting as they climb. Today, I'm super excited to host April Wirtz. April is a managing director in Accenture Strategy, heading their comms, media, and technology client group for Strategy North America. April has been with Accenture for over 15 years and is passionate about helping executives realize their transformation objectives through identifying areas in their organization to reduce costs, where to reinvest to build future capabilities and skills, and how to organize globally to enable these outcomes. She lives in New Jersey with her husband, Evan, and they spend their free time traveling and staying active with hobbies such as skiing, scuba diving, and hiking. And I had the good fortune of being her literal next door neighbor, not just a professional connection, but also her neighbor. April, welcome to the show.
Smita, thank you so much for having me on the mission of this show and this podcast. I could not be more passionate about. So it's an honor to be your neighbor, friend, and professional connection. Thank you for having me.
It's my absolute pleasure. So why don't we just get right into it? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So my first question to you, April, is we all have people we look up to who inspire and shape our journeys. Tell me about a role model or role models that have inspired you in your career journey and why.
Yeah. Two main ones, Smitha. The first one is my father. And I grew up in a small town in Wyoming, and I didn't have a lot of role models I saw in kind of the business world. And I grew up watching my father as, at the time, what I saw as a businessman. And he kind of set this idea and standard for me of something that I wanted to go and do. And it was a little bit outside of the norm of what a lot of my friends were doing and what a lot of maybe my natural path growing up in a very small town, rural community in Wyoming would be, which was around, coal mining, railroad, ranching. And I think what really stuck with me about my father and him being, a businessman, quote unquote, was just some of the core principles and hard work that I saw him distribute on a daily basis. And some of the core principles also that I carry with me today, such as, follow through on your commitments, be on time, be respectful, command a presence and a room. And so that really early on, I think set the stage and laid a foundation for this idea of being a professional that maybe I didn't even really know about yet. And so that was highly impactful for me. The second one is a female leader. Early on in my career, I was a manager, and I remember we were at a client site, and she was what we call the client account lead for a very, very large and important account and project for us. And I think just really early on, having a strong female leader doing something that, so frequently was associated with a male, and so far in my career had only seen that role with that type of influence, with that size of team held by a male. I very much remember Nicole early on in my career, and we've actually continued our mentorship. And she's a good friend now. She just retired. I just went to her retirement party a few months ago in
Oh,
Philadelphia.
amazing.
And she's doing phenomenal, and will continue to be one of those just powerhouse women in my life for my entire career and life, I hope.
That's amazing. 2 points I wanted to echo back. One, with all of my guests, I hear a recurring theme about how your leadership style and your leadership principles and cornerstones are really laid early in
Mhm.
our lives, even before we know what it is to be a leader.
Yep.
And in your case, it's your father.
Mhm.
And then there's nothing more powerful than a woman leader who takes you under her wing, and helps pave that path forward for you. That's just a beautiful thing, and hopefully, this podcast series inspires other people
Yeah.
to do the same, for and pay it forward. And that's the whole objective. Thank you so much for sharing that. Um, so, what are some key leadership lessons you live by? I think you mentioned a few that you've carried from like childhood, as it were. But are there some key leadership things that you live by?
Yes, absolutely. The first one does really go back to what I was saying, but I have a particular saying that I like, and actually it was instilled upon me by a professor, one of the first days in his class in my MBA, and he said, "Get the easy stuff right." He said, "Life's hard, and life's going to throw hard stuff at you." He said, "And so get the easy stuff right." And the easy stuff is, follow through with your commitments, be on
Yeah.
time, be kind, do what you say you're going to do. And that just really resonated with me, because so many people decide or forget, to not get the easy stuff right. And I just don't understand why. Spend your
Yeah.
energy dealing with the things that are actually really hard, because there are plenty of those in life.
Yeah.
Um, the second one really is also, people like to work for and work with people that they like and have fun with. And so I also always just try to be a leader that, shows compassion, that is quick to laugh at my own mistakes, that knows how to have some fun also, that takes a real interest in other people, that brings a certain amount of, humility with the day to day as well, because those are the people that I want to spend my time with. And so I think that attracts strong teams, and I think that it makes it just it makes the role more fun. It makes leadership more fun, and I think it brings more joy to the people that I work with.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. I think those are some golden words right there. And it's not that complicated.
Right.
It's actually quite simple. You just have to have the willingness to follow these simple rules and
And
simple things.
like, I have more fun. Like, I like to laugh, and I like to, have fun at work, and and so why make it harder than it needs to be?
Absolutely. And I think you're hitting upon actually a key leadership trait, which is being authentic.
Hmm.
If you're authentic, you're not trying to pretend to be someone you're not. This is your authentic self. You want to follow through, you want to be on time, you want to be kind, you want to be respectful, you want to have fun with the people that you spend oftentimes more time than with your own family, right? And it makes it so much more enjoyable if you're able to have fun with people who are similar and
Exactly.
want to give their best.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Awesome. All right. Now, this is kind of like the key part of this podcast. Um, what are all the different ways you leverage your success to help other women in their
Yeah.
careers?
It's a really, really important question. And I think one that, throughout my career and at different phases of my journey too, I've kind of noodled over a lot. And, I feel very honored and privileged and fortunate to be, on some leadership teams, on some executive committees. And so one of the first ways that I do it, Smitha, is I try to be a very active and visible role model for others in my organization and maybe outside of my organization as well. I think that, like I talked about with Nicole very early on, seeing her in a role, in a position where there weren't a lot of female leaders really resonated with me early on. And I think that's really critical. So I try to remain, very aware of the fact that I have these platforms, and I try to be very vocal about it and make sure that I have that seat at the table and that I'm present
Mhm.
at that seat at that table, and then create that visual for other women around me. So that's kind of the first thing. The second is that I do really have a very, very open door policy, and this goes for females and males equally within my company or with anywhere. But I like to have it be known that I mean, just today I spent an hour having lunch with someone on my team, just to hear where she's at, with her career and what I could do to help further her career. And so I really, really, really try to do that on a regular basis to create that informal mentor mentee relationship. And then the third one, very tactically, I'm very excited about. I actually just launched a Women in CMT official employee relation group within Accenture. And so CMT is comms media technology, so it's the
Okay.
industry that I'm a part of, and I lead our strategy practice for that industry. As you said, I said I'm going to launch a Women in CMT group,
Yay. Yay.
and our motto is enabling women and allies to navigate change. And we have programming and different events all around connecting women, training women, discussing career pathing for women, and
Yeah.
just providing that platform and that space. And so I'm very proud of that. And it's just, it was within the last month or so. And so also I'll return the favor and have you come and speak to the group there.
Oh,
And that would
yay.
be phenomenal. So
I would be thrilled to do that. One of the things I was going to suggest, first of all, yay.
Thank you.
Anything like this gets me super excited. This is an area of passion for me. Second, I think I've told you this, like I did something similar. It was called a mentoring circle. ADP had, when I worked at ADP, we had women in leadership, but that was only for VP and higher.
Mm-hmm.
And there were so many other women that we wanted to bring under the fold. So we created what was called mentoring circles.
Yeah.
And circle was intentional. There was no hierarchy.
Yep.
And the circle was really, we met once a month at lunch. And then, in fact, my circle, I think I actually launched one of the only circles. I actually said, what do you want to discuss? Right? instead of saying we can talk about career pathing or whatever. So one person in the circle happened to have read, I don't know if you read this book by Bonnie Marcus called The Politics of Promotion.
No.
So she had just read that book and she said, oh, we talk about these different things, these different quadrants they describe in the book. So that became sort of our anchor for our monthly meetings. And we did this for a year. We had external guests, like you mentioned. At the end of the year, 50% role expansions or promotions.
Wow.
That's not a bad statistic.
Not at all.
So, I mean, there's so much power when you want to help, and when people lean in and seek the help.
Exactly.
So, yay, I'm so excited.
I love the circle idea, though. I might pick your
Steal
brain
it.
more.
Steal it. Take it.
I'm going to.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll talk more about that.
Okay.
So, yay. Awesome. So, in connection to this, when you've reached out to others to help you in your career, what are some of the best ways others have helped you?
Yeah. I have found a lot of benefit and satisfaction in having female mentors who are slightly, that's the best way to say this, slightly more senior or advanced than I am, just by like a click, just by a little bit. And I find that they're close enough to where I am professionally, where they're not disconnected, but that just getting an alternative perspective has been immensely valuable to me. And so I think just, again, like, as you said, the ones that have, that take you under their wing, who are there to lend an ear, and that I can just from perspective. I really, really value that. And then the other one is, and I mean, this is, a little motherhood and apple pie, but just so many times I've had other leaders just make a powerful connection. And I think that it's the older I get, the more senior I get in my career, just the power of a network is just so huge.
Absolutely.
And so the individuals who just, your Rolodex is my Rolodex, like, I really, really, really value that. And I've had a lot of phenomenal leaders who've done that for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I think one comment you said something very powerful, which is you found mentorship with people who were just a click above, for lack of a better word, further in their career or senior to you. And I think that's important because they need to understand the shoes you're living in, and be able to help you navigate from there to solve whatever problem you're trying to solve.
Right.
And I especially like the fact that you talked about female mentors, because, as I'm getting older, I have also realized you get very direct, actionable feedback from other female mentors.
Yeah.
And there's so much power in that. And in my career, I've found women in particular are offered a lot of mentorship. I'm like, thank you, but I'm good. Can we please get a sponsor or an advocate, please?
Oh, for sure.
To progress. So I love that, and just wanted to add those 2 cents on top of what you said.
No, you're so right. And I mean, I've had so many strong mentors throughout my life, females and males, like so many. I've got, some of my my biggest advocates have been males as well. It's about empowerment and mentors, and it shouldn't be about gender. But the
Yes.
reality is, Mitha, that we do still live in a world, especially a professional world, that's very, very male dominated. And so that has certain implications and means certain things. And so I do find that sometimes a female leader's perspective is different and has different insights than maybe a male's perspective on the situation. And both are great, but you need them both, and you take them both in.
Yes.
And there's fewer female perspectives and voices. And so sometimes you have to work harder to find them, but it's important that you find them.
Yes. Yes. Beautifully said. Thank you. All right. Can you please share your favorite life lesson quote and how that's relevant to you in your life?
Mm-hmm. The quote is today, and I have no idea who said it. I have no idea if it's a real, but today is the tomorrow you were promised yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it takes a second. Today is the tomorrow you were promised yesterday, which is really just saying, live in the moment.
Live in the moment. Yeah.
And, like I'm very action oriented. And it's just like, if you think about doing something, if you feel like you should do something, just do it. If you want to call someone, if you want to text someone, just do it, yes. And I really like living by that, because, I think it, first of all, it's very efficient. And second of all, then I'm not regretting doing something. Of course, there are still times where having not done something. Of course, there aren't times where I still say, well, should I have? Or, it's not like I don't ever second guess my actions. But, if you really want to do something, put it on your to-do list and then just go do it.
Just do it. Yeah. I love that. I think, so my mom always says, if you think of someone and you want to let them know that you thought of someone, pick up the phone and call, because you don't want to have, especially like, with older relatives or whatever, you don't want to have that regret if they pass.
Exactly.
And you didn't have that conversation. You thought of them, but you didn't have the conversation.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And I had someone ask me the other day, I did a life journey as one of my Women in CMT events just a few weeks ago. And and someone asked me, well, how do you keep your network fresh? How do you, continue to reach out to clients? And I said, it's quite simple. Like when I think about it, I just text them, like, and I don't overthink it. And and also now, because of technology, it is so easy to just, not saying that it replaces a handwritten note. No, like, of course, that's always best. And I find the time to do that for my teams and family and things as well. But it is really easy to just quickly let someone know you're thinking about them. And it helps with, what we've been talking about a lot here in the last 20 minutes or so, which is just keeping the network, keeping the mentorship, and the connection is so important.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right. We're almost at the top of this conversation. Any book recommendations that have helped you stay true to who you are?
I am going to have a moment of authenticity here and say, I wish I could answer yes. I want so desperately to be one of those people who reads these beautiful books because I know that they are there. and I love the idea. But I don't have a book that has really has spoken to me or moved me or been a life lesson that I've lived by. So I will take a recommendation from you, Smitha, and I will
Great.
try to get through it. Typically, I get a third of a way through a book. I thoroughly enjoy it, and then I get thoroughly bored with it, and I just stop reading it.
I love first of all, that's why we are such great friends. I love the authenticity, no BS. And you know what? I actually prefer fiction over business books.
Yes.
It's entertainment. Like, I can give you recommendations about Netflix and Prime movies. Right? There are some, honestly, business books, they have to get you quick, and it has to be a quick read. Otherwise, like you, I get bored.
Exactly.
But what I will do for you is I'll compile the books that were recommended by my guests, and I'll share it with you, and you and I can both start a business book reading club. How's that?
I'll take you up on that. I will absolutely take you up on that.
Maybe that'll force me to read all these books that I have.
Exactly. We'll at least try to get through one and talk about it.
Okay. All right. That sounds great.
Okay.
April, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on this podcast. You spoke to me in so many ways. I mean, obviously, we've had that connection before, but just your leadership principles, your authenticity. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I hope the audience took away some great golden lessons from this conversation. I appreciate you being on this podcast, and thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Smitha, thank you for this podcast in general. I love the mission.
Awesome. Thank you again.